hearing SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM about yesterday we heard how Kardam Rishi said, the highest authority for me is the unlimited Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom this wonderful creation emanates and in whom its sustenance and dissolution rest. He is the origin of all Prajapatis, the personalities meant to produce living entities in this world. Then in commentary we heard that he said, I will not follow this duty of what for Prajapatis that they have to make so many children. No, my authority is Supreme Lord. He is the source of Prajapatis also, and it is his desire that I have to make child but one. So that I will accept as my duty. 1 second, I will just refresh my video. It is going slow. Okay, now it is better. So here in commentary we heard yesterday, Karda Muni preferred to devote his life as a servant of the Lord in Paramahansa knowledge and to beget a child only for that purpose, not to beget numberless children to fill up the vacancies in the universe. What is Prajapatis they have to do. Maitreya Uvach. Sa ugra dhanvan iyat eva bhabashe asi cha tushnim arvindanabham diyo pagrihnan smita shobitena mukhena cheto lulubhe devahutyah. Sri Maitreya said, O great warrior Vidur, the sage Kardam said this much only and then became silent, thinking of his worshipable Lord Vishnu, who has a lotus on his navel. As he silently smiled, his face captured the mind of Devahuti, who began to meditate upon the great sage. So nu gyatva vyavasitam mahishya duhitu sputam tasmai guna gunadhyaya dadau tulyam praharshitaha. After having unmistakably known the decision of the queen as well as that of Devahuti, the emperor most gladly gave his daughter to the sage, whose host of virtues was equaled by hers. Devahuti and Kardam, they were both equally qualified. Shatarupa Maharagi Paribarhan Mahadhanan Dampatyoh Paryadat Pritya Bhusha Vasa Parichadan. Empress Shatarupa lovingly gave most valuable presents suitable for the occasion, such as jewelry, clothes, and household articles, in dowry to the bride and bridegroom. Pratam Duhitaram Samrat Sadrikshaya Gatavyata Upaguhya cha Bahubhyam Outkantion Mati Tashaya. Thus relieved of his responsibility by handing over his daughter to a suitable man, Swayambhuva Manu, his mind agitated by feelings of separation, embraced his affectionate daughter with both his arms. is here in commentary. A father always remains in anxiety until he can hand over his grown-up daughter to a suitable boy. A father and mother's responsibility for children continues until they marry them to suitable spouses. When the father is able to perform that duty, he is relieved of his responsibility. I read in some letters to our Gurudev that they were expressing this anxiety, that we cannot find proper husband for a daughter like this. Then Gurudev said that death, birth, marriage, these things are in the hand of Supreme Lord. Means they are happening by our previous actions. So as a result, we are getting this at appropriate time birth and in appropriate species or a circumstance, body, all this, that is controlled by Supreme Lord. Also that, when we will die, how we will die, and marriage also. It is due to our past karma. It will happen. So when I say don't worry, it will come automatically. Our Gurudev also told once one devotee, not his disciple, but of another one, bona fide Guru, after his disappearance, she used to come to darshan of our Gurudev. It was in Calcutta. Then she prayed to Gurudev, you please bless me that I will get a good husband. There are many who are interested in me, but I don't like them. You please bless me that I will get a good one, means according to my liking. Then Gurudev said, what I can say, what I can do, this is according to karma one gets. And then he said, you should not blame also after getting married. You should not blame your husband for the miseries. That is also due to your karma. There is only one way. If you don't blame anyone for the results you are getting through someone, they are only instrument. If don't blame anyone for any suffering, you can understand this is I'm getting only due to my own past activities. Without blaming anyone, if you sincerely worship Krishna, chant his name like Dhruva, then the results of our karma and all this, that will be destroyed. But otherwise, it is impossible to escape that. So he directly don't blame. But it is very difficult for us to practice this. Practically, we may understand and we may believe, but to actually accept, like Dhruva accepted, not blaming anyone and with clear heart, he was free of all hostile mentality to anyone. With that one-pointed concentration, only one who does not blame can have that. With that, from the core of heart he was calling, then he got everything. Ashaknuvam stadviraham munchan bashpa kalamuhu asinchat ambavatseti netroder duhitushika. And Gurudev also said, after marriage, then if they will quarrel and they will blame each other and they will divorce, then if they will marry again, then they will get more problems. If due to this reason, because Gurudev told that is one kind of adharma to blame others. Adharma means not right activity, to blame, and then thinking he is guilty of all my suffering, so I will reject him and I will accept another one who is better or whatever. But if it came through this process, then you did not clear your karma by that process, by rejecting that person. Your same karma will come now through this person. But because you did one adharma of blaming and rejecting, then that will be more one bad reaction more. So your that karma which you have to get, that you will get plus this of adharma of blaming and rejecting, divorcing. So you cannot escape. And Gurudev also gave example that if someone takes shelter of Krishna and worships him, then he may be relieved from karma, but that is also not so easy. Then he gave one example of one disciple of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. He was married, both devotees, then they quarreled and they divorced, but then he entered the mat. Okay, now I will worship, and took saffron cloth like Vanaprast, worshipping, but after 1 year he went to South India and married another one. So we say it is not so easy. If someone would completely surrender to Krishna, then he can escape that karma. But if not, then that will again come to you. It is not so easy. So Gurudev's conclusion was, don't blame anyone and sincerely chant Harinam. We see in Shastra that Atmadev, he was so sad that he did not have child, that he thought this life is useless, and he went to forest to commit suicide. But by fortune, he met one sadhu there. He was sitting by the lake, and that Atmadev went to drink water. So that sadhu asked him, why you came here in the forest? He said, I want to kill myself. Why? He said, I am too much depressed. I'm not getting son. I have wife, but not getting any son. So life is useless. Then that sadhu was meditating, and he saw in Akash that writings, it is not in your karma that you will have a child. So you give up this idea. You only do bhajan of Supreme Lord. You remember the story of Chitraketu Maharaj in Bhagavatam? He was so eager to have a son. He was totally blind. The Rishi came to give him Brahma Gyan, means transcendental knowledge, but he could not accept. He was only praying for son. Then that Angira Rishi gave him, okay, you take this kheer and you give to your wife. She will have child, but I'm telling you now, that child will give you happiness and also distress, both. But king, he thought, I will be happy because I will have a child. Maybe he will not be so obedient, or maybe he will not be so good in school, so I will get some distress, but no problem. I will have a child. That is what I want. That was his thinking. But the reality was that that child was born and he was very happy. But then, other queens became envious of this queen, and they poisoned the child. Child died, and then they were lamenting like anything. We will come to this topic. So finally, Narad Goswami and Angira Rishi both came, and they told him that Angira Rishi told him, already I told you before that this child will give you happiness and distress. I already told you. All this is temporary here. I wanted to give you Brahma Gyan, but you were not ready to accept. Then Angira Rishi requested Narad Goswami, you give him mantra to worship Supreme Lord. But Narad, bona fide Guru, he understood he's not yet ready. Still there is this attachment inside and lamentation. So he brought that jiva of that dead son back to the body. And he asked the jiva, oh jiva, why you are going to another place? You don't see how your parents, they are crying for you. How you can go? Then the jiva said, which parents you mean? Which my parents? I had many parents. In which life parents you mean to say? The jiva then start to explain the actual reality. Then after hearing all that, then Chitraketu came to his senses and gave up that lamentation after understanding the spiritual truth that all these material relationships are all temporary, they are unreal. It is inevitable, there is separation, grief, all this. Our real relation is with Krishna and with all jivas in relation to him. So we have to realize that. Then he took mantra and was worshipping and got Bhagavan. So here also this Atmadev, this sadhu told him, you give up this idea. It is not in your karma. You worship Supreme Lord. You remember this story about Chitraketu Maharaj, but still he could not accept. No, I want child. You are a sadhu. You are fulfilling the desire of everyone. You give me son. Then sadhu understood that he's not accepting. So he blessed him. Okay, you give this fruit to your wife. But you know, wife did not want to have children. So she gave that fruit to cow and took the child of her sister in exchange of money. Then this child was very bad character. And that child from cow was very good character. So this bad character child was giving so much trouble to this father that he said, I will not remain here in house. He took SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM to forest and was doing bhajan and went to Krishna. So that is the point. We cannot escape our karma and we cannot, but the only way is we have to accept the will of Krishna and the sadhu, what he will prescribe, devotion to Krishna, that can only help us, can give us a real thing, not what we think according to our material anarthas that cannot satisfy us even if we get those all desires fulfilled. Ashaknuvam stadviraham munchan bashvakalamuhu asinchat ambavatsiti netroder duhituh shikhah. The emperor was unable to bear the separation of his daughter. Therefore tears poured from his eyes again and again, drenching his daughter's head, and as he cried, "My dear mother, My dear daughter. Here, Swami Maharaj says, the word Amba is significant. A father sometimes addresses his daughter in affection as mother and sometimes as my darling. The feeling of separation occurs because until the daughter is married, she remains the daughter of the father, but after her marriage she is no longer claimed as a daughter in the family. She must go to the husband's house. And after marriage, she becomes the property of the husband. That is according to Varna Ashram Dharma system. Yes. Nowadays, this is not applied, that woman should always be protected first by father, then by husband, then by sons. That is not, because Varna Ashram Dharma is not existent now in actual form. Another one example Gurudev gave. When Devaki, she requested Krishna, you bring back my 6 sons who died. Like you brought back son of Sandipani Muni, your guru, like that, you please bring back my children 6, those whom Kamsa killed. Then Krishna went and brought them, and they took the breast milk of Devaki. She said, I could not feed them. So they took the breast milk of Devaki, and then suddenly they start to run away. And Devaki said, no, where are you going? You are my children. You remain here. They said, no, we are not your children. We are going. Then Krishna explained, the sons of Brahma, they offended him, not understanding his pastime. Then they got cursed. And they were born as sons of Kalnemi, who was a demon one king under Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu had strict discipline on everyone. But this Kalnemi, out of affection for his sons, he engaged them in some work, some austerity for their benefit, without taking permission from Hiranyakashipu. So that is indiscipline. It was out of affection. But Hiranyakashipu became angry and he cursed him. You will kill your own sons. Then in next life, these 6 became sons of Devaki, and that Kalnemi became Kamsa. So when he was killing those children of Devaki, he was actually killing his own sons. Then Gurudev explained, in one life we are having affection, in another we are killing same persons. So what is this relationships in this karma chakra? Gurudev told, karma chakra. We are thinking now this is real, this is like this. But it is all temporary and it is always changing. Today loving, tomorrow hating, killing, all this is going on. It is all false, these relations. So then, because Krishna took breast milk of Devaki, then her breast milk became Krishna's prasad. So because they took prasad, they were rescued from their curse. Then immediately they went back to their own abode. And Devaki said, no, you are my children. I said, no, we are not your children. We are sons of Brahma. So who is whose child? Who is whose mother? Who is whose brother? All this. It's all temporary and it is changing from life to life. That is why this Jiva also told, which parents you mean? So this is all by karma chakra going on. One Russian devotee, she asked Gurudev, how is it that Kayadu, she is wife of Hiranyakashipu, she was in such a position, on one side, out and out demon. Hiranyakashipu was her husband, full demon. And on another side, her son is out and out pure devotee. How she could find herself in such situation? Then Gurudev gave example of this, Devaki and this, and he said it is all by karma chakra we are getting in this world. According to our previous activities, everything is happening. And what we are doing now, that we'll get in future. That is why Prahlad Maharaj said, you don't try for happiness, this worldly happiness. You will only waste your time. As misery is happening automatically without anyone wanting. No one wants to get sick, but they get sick. No one wants to lose money, but they lose money. Why? Because of past activities. So like misery is coming automatically, this worldly happiness also will come automatically by your past actions. So you don't give your attention to that, to work for that. No, you will waste your human life. Only you worship Supreme Lord. And then if someone worships Supreme Lord, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur told, then one will cross over this illusory perception of relations, these worldly relations. He will get another vision, that I am of Krishna, all are of Krishna, and those relationships are eternal. So that we have to realize. Amantriya tam munivaram anugyata sahanuga prataste ratam aruhya sabaryah svapuram nripah ubhayo rishi kulyayah sarasvatya surodhaso rishinam upashantanam pashyan ashrama sampada. After asking and obtaining the great sage's permission to live, the monarch mounted his chariot with his wife and started for his capital, followed by his retinue. Along the way, he saw the prosperity of the tranquil seer's beautiful hermitages on both the charming banks of the Saraswati, the river so agreeable to saintly persons. Prosperity, this is very important, prosperity of the tranquil seers, means tranquil, peaceful, balanced, peaceful seers, means rishis. Only rishis, those who are seeing the truth, they can be peaceful, no one else. They have beautiful hermitages, simple living, high thinking. That is the life. But if always blindly only trying to acquire more and more material things, such person is ever restless, never satisfied, cannot have tranquility of mind. Prahlad Maharaj said to Hiranyakashipu, because of attachment to all these material things, all embodied living entities, conditioned souls, they are always restless. And there is no way for them to escape that unless they take shelter of Supreme Lord. They have to take shelter of Vishnu. Then Hiranyakashipu became angry because he is demon. He cannot accept right thing. he himself showed by his own example. Hiranyakashipu got all 3 worlds, property, and everyone were under him. He by fear he was ruling, so he got topmost position and all property, everything, but he was not happy. Prahlad said to others, I have seen in my father practical example that one cannot be happy by these things. And he himself is a practical example of one who is surrendered to Supreme Lord. He is always tranquil in all circumstances, calm and serene, happy. And Hiranyakashipu, although getting all things, still he was not satisfied. Then he started to drink alcohol and do these sinful activities more. I liked one example of Srila Bhakti Tilak Nishkinchan Maharaj. Now in Vienna, on Janmashtami day, he said in Harikatha, like, you remember when Brahma said to Krishna, it may be possible that in future someone may be able to count all the particles of dust, of sun rays, all. It may be possible maybe someday. But it is never possible to finish your qualities. There are unlimited qualities. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Srivas Pandit that this is not what Nishkinchan Maharaj was saying. I'm making a background so that you can understand how he expressed it. Srivas Pandit had full faith in Mahaprabhu. You know, that clapping 3 times. Then Mahaprabhu roared and he said, it may be possible that one day Lakshmi Devi, means the goddess of wealth, source of all wealth, goddess, everyone worshipping her for getting money. All money is coming from her. It may be possible that someday even Lakshmi will have to beg for money. That may be possible. But it is not possible that at any time in your house there will be any want of anything, any lacking of anything. Your house will always be, because he had such firm faith in the maintainer Supreme Lord. So Mahaprabhu used this example. It may be possible for Lakshmi, one day she will have to beg, but it is impossible that there will be any lacking in your house. So like in this same way of explaining, Srila Nishkinchan Maharaj said in Vienna, it may be possible that someone may get oil by grinding sand, muka, that sand. It may be possible that there is no oil there, but it may be possible that someone, by grinding sand, if you grind mustard seeds or olives like this, then you will get oil. But sand, how? There is no. So, but he said, it may be possible that someone, by grinding sand, he may get oil. But it is impossible that someone will be happy without bhajan. Very nice expression. I liked most on Janmashtami day how he said it, and he really meant it, and it is realized knowledge. So we have to deeply think about this, like our Guru told. It may be possible that someone will get oil by grinding sand, but it is impossible that someone will be happy without bhajan. The example is there, Hiranyakashipu and the other demons, they had everything. And those who are doing bhajan, examples, they are happy, tranquil seers, tranquil rishis, simple living, high thinking. Yes, Rishikulas, where great saintly persons resided. They were living in nice cottages on the banks of the Ganges and Jamuna for purposes of spiritual cultivation. Here, while passing through the Rishikulas, the king and his party were very much satisfied with the beauty of the cottages and hermitages. It is stated here, Pashyan Ashrama Sampada. The great sages had no skyscrapers, means very tall buildings, 80 stories, or not 1 million, many millions of dollars property in Beverly Hills and all these houses with 3 swimming pools, tennis, all this. No. But the hermitages were so beautiful that the king was very much pleased at the sight. Like Srila Bhaktivedanta Sadhu Maharaj of Munger Mandir. He also had so much opulence, Rolls Royce and so many, because king. But he told me himself, I saw some peace in my grandparents. That attracted me. They were having peace. Why? Because they were doing bhajan. Whole night chanting and worshipping everything. So I became attracted. Then he also associated with them and became interested in spiritual path. They were also very opulent, his grandparents, because that same family, but they were doing bhajan, not enjoying opulence, doing bhajan. And Sadhu Maharaj, I felt they have peace. And I wanted that. Tam ayantam abhipretya brahmavartat prajahpatim Gita samstuti vaditreih pratyudiyuh praharshita. Overjoyed to know of his arrival, his subjects came forth from Brahmavarta to greet their returning lord with songs, prayers, and musical instruments. When king came back, then it is a custom to receive him with pomp. Barhishmati Namapuri Sarva Sampat Samanvita Nyapatan Yatra Romani Yagyasyangam Vidhun Vata Kushah Kashas Ta Evasan Shashvat Dharita Varchasa Rishayoyeh Parambhavya Yagya Gnan Yagyam Ijire. The city of Barhishmati, rich in all kinds of wealth, was so called because Lord Vishnu's hair dropped there from his body when he manifested himself as Lord Boar. As he shook his body, this very hair fell and turned into blades of evergreen kusha grass and kasha, another kind of grass used for mats, by means of which the sages worshipped Lord Vishnu after defeating the demon who had interfered with the performance of their sacrifices. So that hair on Boar Bhagavan, that is transcendental. That is why all these effects were there. This very hair fell and turned into blades of evergreen kusha grass we are using as asana for worship, and also in yagya you have to use kusha grass, and that is fully pure kusha grass always. And kasha, by means of which the sages worshipped Lord Vishnu after defeating the demon who had interfered with their sacrifice. When you do fire yagya, then you have to use kusha grass. Kusha kashamayam barhir astirya bhagavan manu ayajat yagya purusham labda stanam yato bhuvam. Manu spread a seat of kushas and kashas and worshipped the Lord, the personality of Godhead, by whose grace he had obtained the rule of the terrestrial globe. This is actually truth. By the grace of Krishna we have everything. He gives everything. But we tend to think, I am doer. By my work I got it. Or like this. But actually, without the grace of Krishna, no one can have anything. And one who is aware of this fact, he is always grateful to Krishna and always dependent on him and always in the service of him. Barhishmatim nama vibur yam nirvishya samavasat tasyam pravishto bhavanam tapatraya vinashanam. Having entered the city of Barhishmati, in which he had previously lived, Manu entered his palace, which was filled with an atmosphere that eradicated the three miseries of material existence. Because for a Krishna conscious person that is there. Then further it will be explained here. Sabharyas saprajah kaman bubuje nyavirodataha sangyamana satkirti sastri bih sura gayakai pratyusheshvanu badhena hrida shrinvan hare kata. Emperor Swayambhuva Manu enjoyed life with his wife and subjects and fulfilled his desires without being disturbed by unwanted principles contrary to the process of religion. Celestial musicians and their wives sang in chorus about the pure reputation of the emperor. And early in the morning, every day, he used to listen to the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a loving heart. Here in Prati Usheshu Anubadena Hrida Shrinvan Hare Kata. Hari Kata. Hrida, with loving heart, means with devotion. Every morning, the king, he was hearing Harikata. That is why atmosphere was such that it would remove all threefold miseries, like in Ambarish Maharaja's kingdom. All were, it was compulsory rule. Everyone has to hear Harikata. But by that they were benefited, not harmed. They were benefited and they got transcendental bliss. They lost all desires for heavenly planets, all this. No desire. So here also, that is why Sai Maharaj wrote in previous commentary, how Manu created such atmosphere is in the following verses. So this is the main point. He was not enjoying contrary to religious principles and hearing Harikatha. Just yesterday, I read one article by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our Gurudev, about Markata Vairagya, that is monkey renunciation. And he showed how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used this in relation to household devotees and also to ascetics. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, he used when he was instructing Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was at that time household. And Choto Haridas was already renounced like a sannyasi or Babaji, and he used there also Markata Vairagya and Manki renunciation. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained very nicely what Markata Vairagya means for householders when they are showing outwardly renunciation, inappropriate renunciation, instead of enjoying without attachment, like Mahaprabhu told to Raghunath Das Goswami. And in the case of Choto Haridas, he accepted the ascetic order, but he was intimately speaking with that lady, and that is why Mahaprabhu did not want to see him. So there Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains how that sort of renunciation, which is not coming naturally from being engaged in devotional service and getting higher taste, that will become false renunciation and temporary, and that is obstacle to bhajan. Then he explained how household devotees should live, like here, Manu, how they should live, and only when it is coming from within their heart, that natural renunciation, that is totally removed, all enjoyment, spirit, everything from their heart totally removed, then only they are eligible to accept ascetic order, sannyas or Babaji. Otherwise, that will be problematic. It's a very long article, very nicely point by point he's explaining. It was published in Bengali in his magazine Sajan Toshani 1897, and now someone translated. So he was living like that. He was enjoyed life with his wife and subjects and fulfilled his desires without being disturbed by unwanted principles contrary to the process of religion. And early in the morning, every day, he used to listen to the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a loving heart, with devotion. Harikatha. Nishnatam yoga mayasu munim swayambhuva manum yat abram shaitum bhoga na shekur bhagavat param. Thus Swayambhuva Manu was a saintly king. Although absorbed in material happiness, he was not dragged to the lowest grade of life, for he always enjoyed his material happiness in a Krishna-conscious atmosphere. Here in commentary, the kingly happiness of material enjoyment generally drags one to the lowest grade of life, namely degradation to animal life, because of unrestricted sense enjoyment. But Swayambhuva Manu was considered as good as a saintly sage because the atmosphere created in his kingdom and home was completely Krishna conscious. The case is similar with the conditioned souls in general. They have come into this material life for sense gratification, but if they are able to create a Krishna conscious atmosphere, as depicted here or as prescribed in revealed scriptures, by temple worship and household deity worship, then in spite of their material enjoyment, they can make advancement in pure Krishna consciousness without doubt. At the present moment, modern civilization is too much attached to the material way of life or sense gratification. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement can give the people in general the best opportunity to utilize their human life in the midst of material enjoyment. Krishna consciousness does not stop them in their propensity for material enjoyment, but simply regulates their habits in the life of sense enjoyment. In spite of their enjoying the material advantages, they can be liberated in this very life by practicing Krishna consciousness by the simple method of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tomorrow we will hear further.